Dear students of standard 11, in the previous slide we have studied about the inflorescence, the bunch of flowers, their arrangement, various types of inflorescence, everything we have completed. Now we are going to start with a flower. One flower we are taking. The flower is present in the form of a bunch or it is present individually. We are taking only one flower. What are the general characters are there in the flower? What are the various parts are present in the flower that we have to study? So we are going to see parts of a flower. First we have to see what are the various parts are there. Connected with the parts of that, what are the terminologies we are using in botany? We have to see the terminologies and their meanings. We have to know. The first one, a flower. Flower itself is a terminology. Now what is the meaning for that? It is the reproductive part of a plant. It is the reproductive part of a plant. So actually a plant is having two major divisions, vegetative parts and reproductive parts. Vegetative parts in vegetative morphology, previous unit we have taken root, stem, branches, leaves and also buds. They are vegetative parts. But now the flowers, fruits and seeds are called the reproductive part. In that the flowers, a flower is the reproductive part of a plant. The second one we are going to study about the pedicel. Okay, we are going to have the pictures later. Pedicel. Every flower, majority if you take, each flower is having a stalk. Okay, thin, narrow, green color stalk will be there. That stalk is called a pedicel. So pedicel is the stalk of a flower. Then we are coming to axillary flower. What is the meaning of axillary flower? This flower is found in the axil of the leaf. You know already what is the meaning of axil of the leaf. Now the stem is there, leaf is present, leaf is arising from the node of the stem. The angle between the stem and the leaf is called the axil of the leaf. In the axil of the leaf we can find the axillary bud. The axillary bud may develop into branch or the axillary bud may develop into a flower. If the axillary bud is developing into a flower, then the flower is called axillary flower. This flower is found in the axil of the leaf. Terminal flower. This flower is present at the tip of the branch. Maybe the branches are divided and finally thin branches will be there. At the tip of each thin branch, one flower will be present. That is called a terminal. So the terminal flower is found at the tip of the stem and branches. Main stem or branches. Everywhere you can find that. Terminal. Then we are going to study about bract. What is bract? We have to see. So first I will read out this. A small leaf-like structure found at the base of the pedicel. Now the pedicel is the stalk of the flower. Just now we have studied pedicel is the stalk of the flower, thin green stalk. At the bottom of the stalk of the flower, that is pedicel, at the bottom of the pedicel, a small leaf-like, it is not a leaf, a small leaf-like structure is present. That leaf-like structure is called bract. The picture will come, that time we will show that. A small leaf-like, it is not a leaf, a leaf-like structure found at the base of the pedicel. That is called a bract. Now we are coming to bracteate flower. Bracteate flower. Very simple. A flower with the bract is called a bracteate flower. Flower with bract. That means the flower stalk, at the bottom of the stalk, a leaf-like structure, bract will be present. That is called a bracteate. Imagine that in another one flower, stalk is there, floral parts are present, but at the bottom of that, at the base of the flower stalk, that is pedicel, no bract. Bract is absent. Then it is called ebracteate flower, the flower without bract. Even this picture also we will show you later. Ebracteate. Bracteate means flower with bract. Ebracteate means opposite of bracteate. That is ebracteate, flower without bract. Bracteole. Now this is another one terminology, bracteole. What is that bracteole? We have to see. Now this is the stalk of the flower. Okay, pedicel. On that floral parts are there. At the bottom, a small leaf-like structure, bract will be present. But on the pedicel anywhere, it can be any part of it, one more small green leaf-like structure will be present, which will be smaller than the bract. which will be smaller than the bract. Bract is found at the base of the pedicel, but the bracteole is present on the pedicel anywhere. That is called a bracteole. A small leaf-like structure found on the pedicel. Okay, it is found on the pedicel. Anywhere in the full length, anywhere it will be present. Only one green leaf-like structure. It is called a bracteole. Bracteolate flower. Bracteolate flower. What is the meaning of bracteolate flower? The flower with the bracteole. That means the bracteole is present on the pedicel. Ebracteolate, a flower without bracteole. That means you are seeing that stalk. Okay, pedicel, full length of pedicel you are seeing, but nowhere you can find leaf-like structure. That means what? Bracteole is absent. So the flower without bracteole is called the ebracteolate. Now the picture, what are the things we have studied? We are going to see that. Now this is the flower, okay, complete flower. This is the stalk of the flower. It will be green in color. It is called the pedicel. Okay, now the floral parts are there. Floral parts, that means parts of the flower. Floral parts are present. So this is the flower with the pedicel. Pedicellate flower. It is, the whole thing is called a flower. The flower with the pedicel is called a pedicellate flower. Axillary flower we have taken. Now for the axillary flower, this is the stem. Here the leaf is present. Now in the angle of the leaf, that is between the stem and the leaf, in the angle the flower is situated. Floral parts with the pedicel. This is called axillary flower. Now terminal flower. This is the tip of the stem. At the tip of the stem, one flower will be present. Pedicel with the floral parts. Okay, one flower. So since the flower is present at the tip of the stem, it is called a terminal flower. Next we are going to study about what is bract. This is the stem, node, leaf is there, normal leaf. In the axil of the leaf, imagine that one flower is arising. This is the stalk of the flower. Okay, this is the stalk of the flower. The stalk of the flower is called a pedicel. At the base of the pedicel here, a small green leaf-like structure is emerging. It is present. Now, this small leaf-like structure which is attached with the base of the pedicel is called a bract. So, the flower with the bract is called a bracteate flower. Okay, this is the flower with the bract. It is called a bracteate flower. Now, another flower we are coming. Ebracteate flower. Now, what is the meaning of ebracteate? Stem is there, leaf is present, pedicel, floral parts. Now, this is the flower. At the base of the pedicel, you are observing, is there any leaf-like structure? That is absent. That means what? Bract is absent. So, this is the flower without bract. It is called the ebracteate flower. Now, we are coming to bracteole. What is the bracteole? We have to see. Stem, leaf is there. This is the pedicel, floral parts are present. So, the whole thing is called a flower. At the base of the pedicel, there is a bract. Bract is there. It is separate. But on the pedicel here, now I have drawn near the middle. On the pedicel, one more small leaf-like structure is there. It is called a bracteole. It may be present here, it may be present here, on this side here, anywhere. Only one small leaf-like structure will be attached on the pedicel. That is called a bracteole. So, the flower with the bracteole is called a bracteolate flower. The flower with the bracteole is called what? What is that? Bracteolate flower. Now, this is the another flower. Now, I have drawn this pedicel. Bract is there, but on the pedicel we are observing. We are looking at, but no more green leaf-like structure on the pedicel. That means what? Bracteole is absent. Now, this is the flower without bracteole. No bracteole. Then it is called a ebracteolate flower. Now, we are coming to the next, the next terminology, thalamus. Okay, next one is thalamus. What is the meaning of thalamus? Or it is also called a torus. It is also called a torus. We have to see what is this thalamus or torus. Now, see that meaning for that: broad portion of the tip of the pedicel bearing the floral whorls. So, the pedicel is there. It is a stalk. It is thin green in color. But at the tip of the pedicel, there is a small bulging portion, very small bulging portion. That bulging portion is called a thalamus. It is also called a torus. So, the torus or thalamus is the broad or bulging portion found at the tip of the pedicel. and that bulging portion is bearing the floral whorls. Floral whorls means the petals and other parts which are present. So floral parts we can say are floral whorls. The next one we are going to see calyx. What is actually this calyx? Now for example, hibiscus is a standard and a common flower. You are observing that green stalk will be there, but at the bottom of the flower if you take one green small cup like structure will be present. It is called a calyx. Okay, so it is the outermost whorl. Whorl means one circular arrangement you can find. So it is the outermost whorl. Whorl means circular arrangement of the flower. It is made up of sepals. If you see that, a number of small divisions will be there. They are all fused together, margin to margin they are fused. Each one is called a sepal. So it is made up of sepals. Sepals are green. Generally the sepals are green in color. Okay, in majority of the flowers if you take, green in color. Now we are coming to corolla. Now corolla, it is a second inner whorl. That means calyx is there, green color, very small, cup like at the bottom. But after that some colored parts will be present, beautifully colored part. They may be red in color or yellow in color or pink in color like that. Now that is the another one circular arrangement of parts. So it is called the corolla. Corolla, it is the second inner whorl. Outermost whorl is calyx. The next inner whorl is corolla. It is made up of petals. The beautifully colored parts are called what? Petals that are colored. Colored means any color it can be. Except green, any other color can be present. They are colored. Androecium, we are going to see. See the spelling for that. Androecium. Okay, O is silent. Androecium. The androecium is the third inner whorl. Actually, outermost whorl is the calyx. Next whorl is corolla, made up of colored petals, and the third inner whorl is the androecium. It is the male reproductive part. It is a male reproductive structure. Now this androecium is producing male reproductive cells. So that androecium, it is a male reproductive part. It is made up of small structures called as stamens. In the pictures I am going to tell what are stamens, what are the parts are there in the stamens, how many stamens will be there, that we will study. So androecium is the third inner whorl. It is the male reproductive part. It is made up of stamens. Then the next terminology is gynoecium. Here also N-O-E, O is a silent. So gynoecium. It is the innermost whorl of the flower. It is present exactly in the center. That is called the innermost whorl. It is a female reproductive part because this part is producing female reproductive cell, ovules. So it is a female reproductive part. It is made up of pistil. So the whole gynoecium is also called a pistil. Only one structure, pistil. Now that is about gynoecium. Next 16, Epicalyx. Now generally in a flower if you take 4 whorls will be there. Calyx, inner to that corolla, further inner to that androecium, then at the center gynoecium. But in rarely some plants, in some flowers, we can find Epicalyx. What is that Epicalyx? Calyx is there, made up of sepals. It is the outermost whorl, small green structure, cup-like structure. Surrounding this calyx, one more whorl will be there, made up of thin, green, long lobes. Okay, maybe 5, 6, 7, any number. They are forming outermost whorl. This whorl is present around the calyx, so that it is called a epicalyx. Epi means outer, calyx. Outside the calyx, we can find this whorl. It is made up of small green lobes found around the calyx. Right. The next one is Perianth. P-E-R-I, Perianth. We can pronounce this also as Perianth. Both are same, both are correct. If you pronounce Perianth or if you pronounce it as Perianth, nothing wrong in that, both are correct. In some flowers, calyx and corolla are undifferentiated, called Perianth. What is that undifferentiated? Generally, calyx will be small, green in color, outermost whorl. Corolla is made up of petals which are larger and beautifully colored. Okay, you can find the difference size wise, color wise, shape wise, lot of differences will be there. That is called a differentiated calyx and corolla. But in some flowers, calyx and corolla will be looking exactly the same. Size wise, shape wise, even color wise, they are same. So that is called the undifferentiated calyx and corolla. Together we can call it as perianth. Then what is the name of the lobe? For example, calyx is made up of sepals, corolla is made up of petals. But here we cannot identify which is calyx, which is corolla. Both are looking alike. Then what will be the name for the lobe of the perianth? So it is made up of tepals. Okay, that common term we are giving, tepals. Tepals means it is not like calyx, it is not like corolla, it is very common, undifferentiated, tepals. The next one is essential whorls we have to take. Now in the name itself we can understand, 4 whorls are there. Out of 4 whorls like calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, essential means the most important whorls. Okay, which are the essential whorls we have to see. The essential whorls include androecium and gynoecium. Androecium is the male reproductive part. Gynoecium is male reproductive part. Both are meant for reproduction. They are involved in reproduction. Androecium is producing pollen grains, male reproductive cells. Gynoecium is producing ovules, female reproductive cells. So they are very, very important for reproduction, meant for reproduction. So they are very, very important. So essential whorls. So androecium and gynoecium are essential whorls. Then non-essential whorls, the name itself we can understand. Non-essential, not important. That means they are not involved in reproduction. Okay, non-essential whorls. What are they? Include calyx and corolla. Calyx is not producing pollen grains or ovule. Corolla is not producing any pollen grains or there is ovules. So they are not involved in reproduction. They are not directly involved in reproduction. So they are called non-essential whorls. So include calyx and corolla, not involved directly in reproduction. Last one, complete flower. In the name itself we can understand. A flower with the 4 whorls is called a complete flower. What are the 4 whorls? We have studied. Calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. It is called a complete flower. Now we are taking this diagrammatic representation for explaining about all the parts what we have studied, the whorls and all. Now this is the pedicel of the flower stalk. Now it is a vertical section. Now at the tip of the pedicel there is a bulging portion. We have studied in the terminology. This bulging portion is called a thalamus. It is also called a torus. On the torus only the floral whorls are arranged. The floral whorls will never touch the pedicel. They are all arranged only on the thalamus. So thalamus is a bulging portion found at the tip of the pedicel on which the floral parts are arranged. Okay, what are the 4 whorls? First is calyx. At the bottom of the flower, if you take a small green cup-like structure, you can find. Other parts and all we have removed. Only the calyx we have taken. Now this is the calyx. But at the tip, the lobes are separated. Now you can see that. Whatever the number may be. Now, each lobe of the calyx is called a sepal. Each lobe of the calyx is called a sepal. So calyx is made up of sepals. It is the outermost whorl. Then, next whorl we are taking corolla. Now this is called a corolla. Now calyx is there. Very small green cup-like structure. Inside that, large lobes will be there. They are beautifully colored. These are joining together form corolla. The whorl is called a corolla. In the corolla, a number of lobes will be present. Maybe 4, 5, 6 or even more. Each lobe is called a petal. P-E-T-A-L, petal. Each lobe is called a petal. Imagine that we are removing the petal from this corolla and we are arranging. All will be more or less alike. They are arranged in the form of a circle. So this is the whorl. This whorl is called a corolla. The corolla is made up of petals. Then the third one is called the androecium, essential whorl, male reproductive part we are taking. The androecium is made up of group of stamens. But for picture I have drawn only 3, but it may be any number, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 50, 60, 70 like that. Now the androecium, the male reproductive part, is made up of stamens, many number of stamens. Okay, one stamen we will take. What is the structure? Each stamen is having a long stalk. Now the bottom of the stalk is attached with the thalamus. Okay. Now this stalk of the stamen is called a filament. It is called a filament. At the tip of the filament, a bag-like structure is situated. Now, like that, filament, one bag-like structure. One filament, one bag-like structure. The bag-like structure is called the anther. A-N-T-H-E-R, anther. So, one filament and one anther together form one stamen. Many stamens join together form androecium. In the anther only, the pollen grains are produced. So, male reproductive structure. Then we are coming to gynoecium. The gynoecium is also called a pistil. The gynoecium is also called a pistil. Now, if you take this gynoecium, it is situated on the thalamus. Exactly at the tip of the thalamus it is there. Now, the gynoecium is having at the bottom a large bulging portion. It is called the ovary. Inside the ovary, ovules are produced. So, it is very, very important. Ovary. Above the ovary, a long tube is present. It is a tube. It is called a style. At the tip of the style, another one small bulging portion is present. It is called a stigma. So, the ovary, style and the stigma together form the female reproductive structure. So, it is also called a gynoecium or pistil. Okay. So, now the four whorls we have taken: Calyx, Corolla, Androecium, Gynoecium. Okay. Then Epicalyx, just before I told what is Epicalyx. Here already calyx is there. It is green. Okay, a number of lobes will be there. Now each lobe is called a sepal. Now this is the calyx. But outside the calyx, some long green thin structures are present. One whorl. In front I have drawn 4. Like that on the other side also they will be present. So this whorl of small lobes, we can call it as Epicalyx. That whorl is called Epicalyx. But the Epicalyx is seen only in some plants, in some flowers, not in all the types of plants. Then we are coming to Perianth. Now already I told in the terminology, Perianth is nothing but undifferentiated calyx and corolla. Now calyx, corolla both are looking exactly the same. That is called the undifferentiated calyx and corolla. Now this undifferentiated, if you take that first outermost whorl, sepals are there. Calyx is made up of sepals. Then all the sepals are larger, longer. Okay, then inside that corolla is there. In the corolla, what we can see petals, but all are looking alike, lengthwise, shape-wise, size-wise, color also same. So we cannot say which is sepal, which is petal. So such undifferentiated calyx and corolla is called a perianth. Each lobe is called a tepal. Each lobe is called a tepal. Okay. Now we are coming to the next one, incomplete flower. Already I told about what is complete flower. A flower with the 4 whorls is called a complete. Now, incomplete flower means 1 or 2 or 3 whorls will be absent. Okay, lack of 1 or more whorls. For example, out of 3 whorls, any 1 whorl is absent. Any 1 whorl. Okay, then it is called incomplete. Okay, incomplete flower. Anything can be. For example, calyx is there, corolla is there, androecium is there, gynoecium will not be there. Female reproductive part will not be there. Then we have to call it as incomplete flower. Okay, like that. Any whorl can be absent. Sometimes 2 whorls will be absent. Calyx and corolla will not be there. Only androecium and gynoecium will be there. Okay, so like that. Any 2 or 3 whorls will be absent, incomplete. Next one is male flower. So in the name itself we can understand male. So it is also called a staminate flower. So that means in the essential whorls, androecium and gynoecium, only androecium is present in the essential whorl, gynoecium is absent. It is called a male flower. A flower with only androecium as essential whorl. Okay, gynoecium is not at all seen. That is called a male flower. It is also called a staminate because androecium is made up of stamen. Staminate flower. The next one is female flower. It is also called a pistillate flower because this is having only pistil, gynoecium. That is called a female flower. A flower with only gynoecium as essential whorl. That means androecium is totally absent. Okay, androecium is completely absent. That is called a female flower. Then bisexual flowers. The bisexual flower is also called a perfect flower. Because this flower is having both androecium, male reproductive organ, and gynoecium, female reproductive organ. Both are there. So we are calling it as bisexual. Both the reproductive organs are present in the same flower. Bisexual flower. It is perfect flower. It is also called what? Perfect. Then unisexual flower, in the name itself we can understand, unisexual, only one reproductive organ will be present in that flower. It is also called imperfect flower, opposite of perfect, imperfect flower. That means it is not perfect, something is absent. A flower contains either androecium or gynoecium. So, if androecium is present, gynoecium will not be there. If gynoecium is present, androecium will not be present. It is called unisexual. Monosexual we can say. Here we are using the term unisexual flower. The next one we are going to study about a hermaphroditic plant. Okay, we are coming to the next one, hermaphroditic plant. In the hermaphrodite, it is a general term we are using in zoology very often. Now, in lower classes, you might have studied what is the hermaphrodite animal. Say in the lower organisms, okay, lower organisms, invertebrate animals. We might have studied about animals without backbone. Some animals, not all. One animal is having male reproductive system and female reproductive system. So, we cannot say that animal is a male or female. It is a combination of both. That only we are calling it as a hermaphrodite. In plants also we can find like this. Now, this is not a flower, plant, whole plant we are taking. Hermaphroditic plant. What is the meaning of this a hermaphroditic plant? Which plant is a hermaphrodite? We have to say. A plant with bisexual flowers. Imagine that one plant. It is producing 10-15 flowers. Now, each flower is bisexual. Okay, each flower is a bisexual flower. That is called a, what is that? Hermaphroditic plant. Okay. Now, so many flowers are there. One flower you are plucking and you are seeing that flower. Androecium is there, gynoecium is also present in the same flower, hermaphrodite. The next one is monoecious plant. Mono, single. Monoecious means these plants are bearing that is what unisexual flowers. Now see that both male and the female flowers are found in the same plant. Imagine that one plant is having about 500 flowers. Okay, 250 flowers will be male flower. Male flower means flower with androecium only, gynoecium will not be there. The remaining 250 approximately, I am telling. The remaining 250 will be female flowers. What is the female flower? Androecium will not be there, only gynoecium will be present. Such unisexual flowers will be present. Monoecious plant has both male and the female flowers are found in the same plant. Next, a dioecious plant. Now see that dioecious, D-I-O, O is a silent, D-I-O-E-C-I-O-U-S, dioecious. Dioecious plant means you see that male and female flowers are found in separate plants. Male and female flowers are present in separate plant. For example, the same type of plant present in one particular place, enormous number. Okay, a grove, palm tree grove, we can take palm tree. Now, in the palm tree, if you take, lot of plants are there. They are producing only female flowers. So, they are called a female plant. No male flowers at all. So, female flower, female plant. Rarely some plants will be there, palm tree. These trees are producing male flowers. Female flowers will not be there. So, it is called a male plant. So, in the plant population, we can find male plants separately, female plants separately, like animals. Male animals, female animals, like we can find this. That is dioecious. Male and female flowers are found in separate plants. One plant is having completely male flowers. Another plant is having completely female flowers. Then the next one is polygamous plant. Now what is the meaning of polygamous? Gamous means flowers. Poly means many types. Many types of flowers. Overall, if you take 3 types of flowers will be there. One is bisexual flower. Another one is male flower. Next one is female flower. Only 3 types of flowers will be there. Now, a plant has male flowers, female flowers and bisexual flowers. Okay, and bisexual flowers. So, all the 3. For example, one plant you are taking, one branch if you see, bisexual flowers will be there. In another branch if you take male flowers, one more branch if you take female flowers, like that. So, single plant has 3 types of flowers. That is called a polygamous.